My name is Jamali Sali, and I welcome you to this episode of the Ideation Corner. The Ideation Corner is a space where ideas are discussed and dissected. And today I host Shadrach Nirere. Shadrach is the founder of End Plastics Now, and he is going to tell us all about it. Shadrach, how are you?
I'm okay. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. So tell me, what does End Plastics Now do?
End Plastic Pollution is an initiative in Uganda. We are a community-based organization. We are more into advocacy and promoting more awareness about plastic pollution.
Okay. But when we were speaking earlier, I felt like you are more than just advocacy, because advocacy normally just talks about the problem. Tell me a little bit more how you get engaged in the pollution problem and exactly what you do.
First of all, the pollution problem, I engaged into it because I'm a victim myself. I do come from an area where plastic pollution is growing to be an existing problem to the society. And we all know that in Uganda, we are less capable of managing plastic waste. So it's why we do this. What we do basically is creating awareness, promoting action, and demanding companies to end plastic pollution. Yes.
And how exactly do you do that? In simple words, we end plastics now, you go, what happens? I saw you in Chiboga recently. Tell me about it. Or near a landfill. I think you were with the fishermen who are on this land site where they normally fish, and you're talking to them about cleaning up. So talk to me about the actions that you take.
First of all, when we go to these communities, we look at the problem in the community, and we also map out this problem where the community is. And also, first of all, we collect the plastic. We clean up the place, gather this trash in one area.
You actually collect it. You don't just talk about it.
We don't talk about it. We clean it up and make the place look better than it was. And then after that, we sort this waste, and then we do brand audits on the waste to see which companies are contributing this waste. Then after, we fill this data into our system where we keep this information, but also get it back to the people to tell them that, hey, you're consuming this, and this is what you're doing, and this is the problem that it is causing to you here, but also to the entire country. Okay. Yes.
So in these audits that you've done, because I know you've been to several places, in these audits that you've done, give me maybe the top 5 companies you've seen, or the ones that you feel are beginning to take up the pollution space.
The plastic pollution problem in Uganda is a mixture of companies. We have multinationals that are contributing to the problem, led by Coca-Cola and Pepsi. We also have Unilever, which is also a multinational. Other companies that are leading to the problem are local players. We have Mukwano and we have Bidco. Then we have new entrants on the market that are producing cheaply bottled drinks of 500 like water, companies like Yaket, and also companies like Hema Water. So all these, they are now balancing the contribution of both the locals and the multinationals.
And the locals are really competing.
Yes, so it's really a very big problem. Yes.
Okay, so now after, say, you as End Plastics Now go to this landfill, you sensitize the people in the community to do the cleanup, which you also involved in the cleanup. Then from the waste you've cleaned, you identify, okay, which companies are polluting the most, and then you have this information. What do you do after that?
What we do with this information, first of all, we are using this information to keep on informing the fight against plastic pollution in Uganda by showing people where we are hit most by this plastic waste. We have found plastic waste in villages, in towns, in cities, in wetlands, in rivers, in lakes like Lake Victoria. So we do feel that people are getting informed about this problem and what to do. Then also this information is used in policy discussions when we get invited maybe by different other organizations that have hosted events to share about way forward on this problem as a CSO, because we are in the civil society. So that's where this information bees of help to show them where exactly the problem is.
Okay.
Yes.
Talk to me more about the community sensitization engagement and the cleanup, because I feel like also a lot of times the people who are on the ground, we could do more as we wait for the policymakers, because the policymakers are kind of up there. The problem isn't necessarily so close to them. So when you're on the ground, you, even as a community, can do the cleanups. Of course, the pollution still comes, but there's something you can do. So talk me through a lot of these community engagements, exactly how you engage with them to change their mindset around pollution.
You are right. The communities can do much. What we have done in Uganda is that we have created the two different unique programs. We have the plastic-free campus program, which we are partnering with the Global Break Free from Plastic Initiative, and we are also having the plastic-free communities program. So in this way, we have managed to group this community that we are talking about. So we have schools who have this plastic-free campus program and universities. That way, a school can, after we engage with the school, talk to the students about plastic pollution. The school takes steps like maybe stopping the use of kavera in the school, within the school campus, or maybe urges students to come with the reusable plastic bottle. So these are some of the actions that go on to within this community. When it comes to other communities, like let me say urban places, mostly the ghettos, the slums, we engage with these people and highlight more the issue of sanitation. So they clean up, they end up now avoiding the waste at all, and also clean up the places where they are. This goes further, these communities go further to inform the supplier of these products. By them doing that, regulating their use of the plastic, they are helping to trigger the manufacturing of that plastic. So that way it comes back to the companies that are polluting.
Okay. When you did mention, I think the first picture I saw of you, you were at some land site where you were engaging with the fishermen, because now the fish was less because of too much pollution. And one of the major plastic pollution bit I saw were the Coca-Cola bottles. They were littered everywhere. So from after you get all this information, you've gone on site, you've talked to the fishermen, you've sensitized them to clean up their own environment. You've got the plastics, you've cleaned it up, in fact, and then you've sorted it. How does it go back to the manufacturer? Yes, the community knows, but they've cleaned up, but then so what? You have this information, but then how do you get back to, say, the manufacturer? Do you have any link in that?
We are, first of all, like I told you, we are more of advocacy. So we are producing reports about this problem and tabling them to these manufacturers, such that they can improve on the effectiveness of their either recycling programs or reusing programs or repurposing programs. So the waste that we collect does not directly get back into Coca-Cola, or we don't have the capacity to get it from, maybe if we collect from River Ruizi, transport it all the way to Kampala to Coca-Cola. Yeah. So it's expensive. But we have ideas that we turn this waste into something more valuable. On River Ruizi, we are coming up with a boat made of plastic, such that we can, that we can clean the river, and these boats can help the community to clean the river. Also, we are constructing water tanks and blocks made of recycled plastic, using plastic bottles as eco bricks. These are not solutions to the problem, but it is one way that we do, so that we do not again feed back the plastic into where it has come from. Because what happens with many cleanups, when you clean up and then you take to the landfill, it goes back where it came from. Less companies go to pick it up from there. So those are some of the ways we do utilize this plastic. And specifically to mention, in Chiboga we have a project called Water for All. The students collect this plastic on their way back home, bring it to school. When it gathers up to over 3,000 bottles or 4,000 bottles, then we buy cement and construct a water tank for the school. Using the plastic. We are also coming up with a clinic for a hospital for a health center in Mbarara, in Bureba, where there is liver easy, where there is too much plastic. So we realize they also don't have a clinic. So we are using the plastic to construct the blocks, the building blocks of this clinic. But like I said, these are not solutions. They are not effective solutions.
They're not sufficient to deal with the problem. So what in your opinion would be solutions to, say, the pollution problem?
First of all, these solutions should stem from the companies that are producing this plastic. We need companies to step up the game of ending plastic pollution. Many companies like Coca-Cola say that they are having a World Without Waste initiative, but this World Without Waste initiative is not feasibly there because everywhere we find is waste. Companies like Unilever are producing so many products, but their sustainability program can only roll out one by one of those so many brands that they are producing. So our individual actions of cleaning up, of sensitizing people are always undermined when these companies that are producing plastics are not reducing on the amount that they are producing, because much of it is unnecessary. You give me a plastic bottle, I put in a plastic bag, I will shop it and then be put in a plastic bag. So there is more of unwanted plastic or unnecessary plastic items that accompany one plastic item that we need to do away with. And this has to be put in place by the companies that are producing this entire product at once. So the actions that we are looking for, the solutions, are from the companies. We need to do away with the linear way of producing, whereby companies produce, we use, and we dispose. That's not the way it's supposed to be. We have solutions like a circular economy, where it can contribute to the growth of this country if well documented of its contribution. But also companies can use this circular economy practices to also find a way of effectively reusing and repurposing the plastic that they produce. So these are some of the solutions that we are looking at that are applicable in Uganda that companies can do.
Okay.
Yes.
It's interesting that you mentioned Coca-Cola and their
World Without Waste.
Yeah, because I just spoke to Faith, who uses Faith Aweko, who is recycling plastic bags into durable bags, backpacks, and she was telling me, of course, one of the companies that does buy these plastic bags that are collected at HTV West landfill is in fact Coca-Cola. So they are doing something. They are buying. If you collect the waste, you take it to them, they'll buy it. So they are doing something.
Yes, they are doing something. Yeah. But I really want to say it that clearly they are doing nothing, because first of all, I will stem you back to Coca-Cola's operations as a company. Now in Uganda, they have 2 production plants, and they are of recent, they expanded their capacity to produce with over $10 million worth of investment. That's in Uganda only. And all over Africa, the company is investing millions of dollars in expanding its distribution, storage, and production, not cleaning or recycling or what. What does that mean? It means that in Uganda, where the company is producing over 4 million bottles, it can only per week.
Per week?
4 million
bottles a week?
Yes, because their new machine produces 24,000 bottles per hour. That is over 500,000 bottles per 24 hours. So that is 4 million bottles in 7 days. So this means that the company is creating a much more bigger problem than it can solve. The waste, yes, it has a recycling plant, but can it intake 4 million bottles per week? It cannot. 2, where are these bottles? They are out there, out of Kampala, where there is nobody who is going to collect plastic and bring it to Kampala for you to cheaply buy it. 2, it should be Coca-Cola collecting this plastic and bringing it to its recycling facility, not people to think that, oh, Coca-Cola may need this plastic or Coca-Cola buys this plastic, because few of us will do it and much of the plastic will end up not taken back to Coca-Cola. So the company has to play very big role in stepping up its effort to tap this plastic back into the system. That's why it literally is not doing anything.
Okay, so interesting. Okay, I've heard about now the multinationals, and all of them actually have a recycling strategy, and they're doing something.
Yes.
The way you're dissecting it is that yes, they are doing something. It's just not enough.
It's not enough.
The pollution that there is, and that's the multinationals. What about the locals, the local companies that you've just been talking about? There are some local companies which are producing very cheap products, which mean then because they're so cheap, they go everywhere.
Local companies are doing really very great in breaking down the cost of consuming many good products. And also bringing basic...
which one? What is it called? Which one did you say?
Yaket.
Yeah, Yaket.
And they are doing so much in helping people access basic things like water. But when you put water in a 500 shilling bottle, the effect it causes to the environment is much more expensive than that 500. I see. So local companies are producing, trying to feed the local market, the person that cannot afford, but in turn, they are easily penetrating remote places, remote markets.
And that Coca-Cola wouldn't have been able to access.
Because when you look at Coca-Cola, Dasani water is 1,000 plus. Their newly acquired Renzoli water, still it is at 1,000. Now, Yaket, the one that has Spice Diana on it, is 500. Now that one in Chiboga, my village, everybody is drinking. People can afford it. So it's been easy for plastic waste, a huge amount, to penetrate and reach these remote areas. That's why when you're riding through all these villages, you can find plastic littered alongside the road and its bottles.
Okay, so you've given some recommendations for the multinationals, i.e. they seem to have the money, but they're not investing it necessarily, not to the extent, in your opinion, that they should be in recycling. What about the local companies?
Local companies have an opportunity that they have not scaled up so much their problem or their reach or coverage beyond Uganda, so they can still change. Local companies need to understand Uganda's problem as a country. We have many problems as a country, poverty on it and other issues, and which is environmental problems. Plastic pollution is the second largest environmental problem. So companies operating in Uganda should have it in mind that, oh, we are in a country that has this problem. So their business, operational business system shouldn't be linear. It should be circular, or it should be having a way that they tap back the plastic after being used, because they need it to. However, the trick behind it is that virgin plastics are cheaper than the recycled plastic, because the recycling takes a lot of processes, so it's capital intensive. But let's look at you coming up with a system that before I sell, there is a mechanism of me recovering this plastic waste. You are a new company. You haven't done much. So it goes out, I think, to many companies that are starting and many bottlers that are coming up, that they are bottling more of the problem. They should be bottling less of this problem. And how do they do that? Is by first understanding the consumers in Uganda, how they are getting this bottle, how they are using this bottle, and they dispose of this bottle, and where do they come in. We can't leave this problem to other companies who are collecting this rubbish to take it to landfill or to use it for something else. It cannot. It's the producer himself that should come up with a mechanism of recovering this plastic waste. So Uganda needs policies and needs mechanisms or measures whereby we do away with the linear way of doing business. Yes.
Okay, but if I did talk to, say, what's the company called? Yeah.
Yaket. Yes.
Anyway, if I did speak, say, Yaket, I know, because for them they're all about profit maximization. Any business is profit maximization. They'll tell you, for me to be able to recycle that bottle, is to set up mechanisms to make sure that I can recycle that bottle. That bottle will become more expensive. And if it becomes more expensive, it won't be 500 shillings anymore. It will be maybe 800. Which means the poor people who we think are entitled to clean water will not be able to afford it. So what advice would you, or what could they do in a way that is profitable for them to still produce a product that's cheap?
There are many ways they can help. First of all is to tell people the truth, that my plastic bottle is poison to the environment if you drink and you throw it. That's number one. None of these companies actually come up with that simple step. All of them, they just quote their product as something so unique.
They even have that little recycle.
Which is saying typically nothing. Unilever says on its Royco circuit that buy and return me, you buy and use and return it to the shop. I tried taking it to the shop, and there's a lady I called Senga at the shop. She was like, but you boy, really? Are you okay? I said, yes, I am okay. So companies need to do much.
And when they say return, they also set up systems within which you can actually return it.
Yes, actually return it, not just to talk. If you say, please recycle me, like Coca-Cola does, how should I recycle you?
Oh, I don't even know how to
recycle you. So there is much they can do that can tap the bottle. Plastic is useful, but it has got to be, we have to use it with a high degree of discipline and of value to it. But if we see it, whenever we create the word waste in our mind, it literally causes the entire problem that we have. Yes.
So tell me more about, because I feel like, at some point it's very difficult to compel a company which is all about profit maximization to basically dig into those profits.
It is not.
It is difficult because they won't do it, or they will pretend like they are doing it, but they're not. So I feel that a lot of solutions need to be a lot on the ground. Say, for example, if you have a community that you sensitize, like the fishermen, and then they collect all the plastic, and then you connect them to a business whose business is to recycle. Would that also help the problem?
Trust me, people understand this problem very well, and they are willing. Yes, and they are willing to do their part. And actually, if you tell them that you buy it, it's even more better. But the problem is more at the top, whereby it's profit above the planet and people's health and the environment on down, and it's profit on top. By that way, they ignore doing their part. Then they leave the entire burden of managing the plastic waste to individuals. I see. So you find that if a company does not have an effective way of recovering, recollecting, reusing, and even revealing to us how much it is producing so that we know how best our local policies of managing the waste will be scaled to work. I see. That means that we don't get a solution out of it. So companies have policies in play that guide them to do that, but they undermine them. We have the extended producer responsibility stipulated under the environmental law. We have an act where a section where companies are told to take more producer responsibility on the issues of discharging waste to the environment and the issues of collecting the plastic they produce, things like that. But they undermine taking that role and leave it to the individuals. So that's where these problems always come back to companies, yes.
All right. We're almost running out of time, but this is an important question I literally have to ask every guest who comes here, is that you set up this, you're a founder of End Plastics Now. How did you start End Plastics Now? Or how do you deal with a question to do with money? Because a lot of people out there listen to this show and they always ask, but I can't do this because I have no money. So tell me about how did you get the money, or how did you do it to where you are in a very short, like 2 minutes?
First thing is knowledge. You need knowledge about what you're doing, and you need to study about what you're doing and how best to run the idea that you have. Two, you need to be consistency. When you say, I want to do this, you have to be able to run on and on, not to just give up at some point. Three, you have to be also prayerful, because as you plan, God also plans these things. So you have to be to ignite your spirit in you that keeps you moving every day to do this. But also you have to be understanding that activism is business in one way or the other. So you need to know what's your revenue model as an enterprise. So as End Plastic, our major capital intensive issue is cleaning this plastic. So we realized that people can support us to buy cleaning materials. So we started a GoFundMe online. So always you need to understand that as an entrepreneur, as a social entrepreneur in this case, you know what you do, and you know which systems that will support it. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Do you have any last words? Because we've come to the end of the show. Do you have any last words you would like to tell anyone who is listening?
As people, we are consumers, but we have power to tell those that are producing our favorite brands how best we need them consumed, or how best we want them to do this. So let us wake up and understand that plastic pollution is a problem to us, and we are losing so much to it. We are losing rivers, we are losing our lakes, we are losing our wetlands, and we are losing our own beautiful communities. So everybody should step up and try to play their part to stop plastic pollution, but also do not shy away on calling companies to do their part, which is the biggest part in ending plastic pollution. So your voice matters on this matter. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Ideation Corner. Please do take the advice from Shadrach here, i.e. we need to be personally responsible, and then also hold companies accountable for this pollution. Thank you so much. You should subscribe to the channel. Thank you.